Hello and welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd and you are watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I have some breaking news coming out here for you and I want to share some updates regarding yesterday's terrorist attack in Moscow at the Crocus City Hall. Okay, so as you can see here on your screen, it looks like we now have a statement coming out from Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia. And it looks like here he is accusing Ukraine of involvement in this attack. So we do know that ISIS was obviously involved here. They are claiming responsibility for this attack. But Putin says he has intelligence that's proving that Ukraine was involved here and that they prepared a window in the Bryansk border. So Bryansk is a region of Russia right on the border of Ukraine. I'll show you on a map here in just a little bit. For 4 of these Crocus City Hall terrorists that committed these acts of terror, killing hundreds of people here and wounding hundreds more at this venue here. So, yeah, he's got information. We're going to go over that in just a moment as well. And we're also hearing that the death toll has spiked. Okay, yesterday I reported the death toll was up to about 60. And according to Fox News, they're stating here that there was 133 killed now, okay, which is very interesting because we also are going to be showing you a statement, another statement actually coming out from ISIS, and they are saying they killed upwards of 300, okay, and they're saying they were Christians. They were going after Christians primarily here. This was a apparently a religious attack, okay, so and then also, as far as I know here too, we have at least 11 suspects that have been arrested in total, but we know for sure at least 4 committed acts of terror using automatic weapons, shooting people, blowing up the building, using incendiary bombs. So lots of information to go over here. We'll go over one thing at a time together. But first, I want to give you some extra information here from Fox News, as I was mentioning. So again here, it says death toll rises to 133 in Moscow terror attack, 11 suspects arrested. The Islamic State of Iraq and Syria, ISIS, has claimed responsibility for one of the most deadly terrorist attacks in Russia in years. Apparently this is like the greatest attack here in Russia in the last like 20, 30 years, okay? They haven't had any major terrorist attacks here in a very, very long time. So I just want you to understand, too, that this is very close to like a 9/11 event comparing to what happened here in the United States, okay, if you live in the United States. So this is a very big attack for Russia, okay? They're not used to these types of things happening, and this is going to be big, okay? I think the response here is going to be huge, and who knows? This could possibly spark World War III here. It's very possible if Putin says here that he really has some evidence that Ukraine is involved. Or maybe even if the West is involved, okay? So this could be really big. Hopefully it's not, but it's possible. So it says here the death toll in Friday's terror attack on a concert in Moscow has soared to at least 133, Russia's top state investigative agency said Saturday, with authorities saying they have apprehended 11 suspects, 4 of whom were reported to be directly involved in the onslaught. President Vladimir Putin addressed the shocked nation in a televised broadcast on Saturday, slamming the massacre as a bloody, barbaric terrorist act, is what he called it. He declared Sunday, March 24th, a day of mourning. Putin said that additional security measures have been put in place throughout the country following the attack, the deadliest in 20 years. All 4 direct perpetrators of the terrorist attack, all those who shot and killed people, were found and detained, Putin said. So apparently everybody who was involved here was caught, even people that didn't commit acts of terror like actually shooting anybody or blowing up the building, things like that, catching it on fire. They tried to hide and move towards Ukraine, where according to preliminary data, a window was prepared for them from the Ukrainian side to cross the state border. So that's what he's claiming here, is that there was a window prepared for them to allow them to come back in to Ukraine. That's according to Putin, okay? The Islamic State of Iraq and Syria claimed responsibility for the deadly attack in a statement on its affiliated social media channels, and the U.S. has said it has intelligence confirming that, several outlets have reported. Russia's investigative committee said it has opened a criminal probe into the attack. However, Putin suggested that there may have been a Ukrainian link to the bloodbath. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky has denied any involvement by his nation, which of course he is going to come out and deny that. But we will see if Ukraine is really involved here in this attack. Obviously, this was a very terrible attack here. And again, I am hearing, we'll go over something here in just a minute from this ISIS statement where they're saying here that they killed upwards of 300 people. But again, according here to Fox News, they're saying 133, which that number has doubled from yesterday. All right, so I've also got some other information I want to be sharing with you guys here too. I'm going to be showing you some X posts now here too, because there's lots of good information on X, formerly known as Twitter, if you weren't aware of that. So let's go over this now and share some information from other people here. So this one's from Anton Gurashenko. Some inconsistencies between official reports and eyewitness accounts of the terrorist attack in Crocus City Hall. So he's saying there's some inconsistencies here in what's being told on the media and what we're seeing on footage and things like that. Millions of video surveillance cameras are installed in Moscow. At the same time, terrorists armed to the teeth are easily moving around the city in cars with fake license plates, which someone did mention that. Someone said something like that on a post that I saw somewhere where they were like, you know, Moscow's, you know, is heavily monitored. How were these people able to carry this out? How were they able to just walk in here and no one caught them on the way over there? There's security cameras all over the place. And I kind of see what he's talking about here. Crocus has a contract with the Okhrana Federal State Unitary Enterprise of the National Guard. But the video of the lobby from the lobby, and other rooms where terrorists are shooting people shows no resistance from the guards. There are no guards among the dead or wounded either. Interesting. It makes you wonder if this was kind of a planned operation here. Is it possible? Yeah, maybe. Some people have been accusing the CIA here of being involved, potentially, or maybe this could be like potentially Ukraine involved here, or even some people were even saying that maybe this is Israel. Okay, there's a large portion of people that believe that Israel had something to do with this here. Survivors report that the guards did not check bags and clothes before entering Crocus, and the metal detectors were turned off. Interesting. Wonder why that would be, especially when there's a big venue and a lot of people showing up. There was upwards of like 9,000 people supposedly that could have been here, so I don't know why they would have that turned off. Even without taking into account warnings about possible terrorist attacks from foreign embassies, the Russian authorities are already constantly reporting about increased vigilance. Terrorists leave a lead in the form of a car in which they arrived, about which everything is already known. It is reported that the very same white Renault with terrorists was detained in the Bryansk region on the way to the Ukrainian border. Why didn't the attackers change the car the whole country was looking for? Even if they were on their way to Ukraine, why through Bryansk, where the border zone is maximally fortified and protected? Yeah, it almost makes you wonder if they did this on purpose, according to Gurashenko here. It is claimed that the building was set on fire using gasoline from canisters. See, I reported that yesterday too, but it wasn't confirmed, and apparently there's a claim here that they did use gas. Was it really enough for a fire of this magnitude in a building built to all fire safety requirements? Why are there no signs of automatic fire extinguishing systems working? They were checked so thoroughly after the tragedy in Kemerovo's Zimnaya, I don't know how to say that, sorry, Vishnaya shopping mall. Spetsnaz drove for over an hour, even though the OMON military base is 8 minutes from Crocus. The firefighters did not put out the fire before Spetsnaz arrived. Spetsnaz waited until they finished putting out the fire to start the assault. I don't know why they would do that. As if someone was interested in more casualties or the escape of terrorists. At the moment, it is reported that the number of victims of the terrorist attack in Crocus has reached 143 people. Oh, so now apparently 143, according to him here. We had, 133 here on Fox. So see, this number just keeps climbing every time we get more information that comes out. Video shows that completely collapsed dome of the Crocus City Hall concert venue. So I wanted to show you this video here too. And it shows this collapsed roof here of the venue. So let's take a look at this.
Делают наши альпинисты, да. И, соответственно, все это срезать, всем в момент, и все это может... Спасибо. разведку делают наши альпинисты, да. Да. И, соответственно, все это срезать в любой момент.
So as you can see here, just complete huge hole right there. It definitely collapsed inside the theater here. This almost doesn't look like the theater on the inside. It's really hard to tell from this angle. Maybe it is. Um, but yeah, it's hard to tell because I don't really see like the seats or anything, but maybe the angle that he's showing here is just kind of the side and you can't see, but you can definitely see that the roof caved in here. And we had reports yesterday that it was collapsing. So it looks like it completely collapsed at this point. Okay, so next up from Aussie Cossack. Boom. Putin has intelligence proving Ukraine prepared a window in the Bryansk border for the 4 Crocus City Hall terrorists to use as an escape route. Game over, Zelensky. So let's take a look at this too.
Все 4 непосредственных исполнителей теракта, все те, кто стрелял, убивал людей, найдены и задержаны. Они пытались скрыться и двигались в сторону Украины, где по предварительным данным для них с украинской стороны было подготовлено окно для перехода государственной границы.
Okay, so let me just add something here real quick. So obviously he is clearly accusing Ukraine of involvement here, right? And saying that a window was open for them to, break through and head towards Ukraine unscathed, technically, right? Even though they were caught before they got to the border. So Ukraine is obviously at war with Russia right now, right? They're technically at war. And then we just had Russia the other day declaring actual war, a state of war with Ukraine. So if you weren't aware of that, I put out a video the other day saying that Russia has declared a state of war on Ukraine and that is no longer a special military operation. Okay, and then this happens just what, a day later or something like that. It's just, to me, it's very suspicious here. And I'm not accusing either side and saying that either side could be involved here. Maybe this really is just ISIS, and maybe this is just a planned event that just happened to fall around the same time frame of Russia declaring war on Ukraine and all that stuff. But a lot of people are speculating here that maybe Russia is using this attack here as a reason to escalate what's happening over here in the Ukraine war, because we do know as well, I've put out several reports here talking about these buffer zones that Russia wants to set up in Ukraine. They basically want to push Ukrainians away from the border of Russia so they can create like a, I don't know, 300 to 500 kilometer, I'm just kind of throwing numbers out here, buffer zone where they control the area and the enemy gets pushed back. The enemy, I mean, being the West and also Ukraine. Obviously, Ukraine's fighting them, right? And push them away from the border so that way they can no longer launch these longer range missiles into Russia, targeting their infrastructure, like their oil facilities getting hit. So I don't know. I'm just kind of speculating here, but let me know what you think down below if you kind of see what I'm talking about there. And maybe if you have some other information, go ahead and share that for us. So let's go on to this here too. So this doesn't have any sound, but this is from Nexta. Russian propagandists recreated what happened inside the Crocus City Hall during and after the attack. So they created like a little simulated video here to kind of show how this all went down. So we'll look over this together. So at 1950 hours, so they jumped out of this car, and we know there was at least 4 of them. There could have been 5 from what I saw in the videos. So they made their way through the hallway here into the venue. And at 20:03 hours, I remember seeing footage here. There's footage online of them breaking into the auditorium here. There was people in here being shot. Unfortunately, I can't show the footage, and apparently they caught it on fire. And here's where they started to escape, right? So here's the Bryansk region here. This is Bryansk, and they were caught in the forest apparently. See, so right here, there's video footage of one of the terrorists being caught in the forest over here in this Bryansk region, just right before the border, maybe, I don't know, 100 kilometers from the border. So it looks like they drove 385 kilometers from Moscow at 23:30 hours. So they did that in, what, roughly about 3 hours. They shot people there, caught the building on fire, and then started driving 385 kilometers over here. It's just, it does seem a little strange. I kind of see what Gerashenko is talking about, but at the same time, they obviously would have had a plan, right? If you're going to foil an attack like this and expect to escape, like a lot of times, these terrorists, they may not plan to escape. They may try to go down fighting or something like that, fighting the police. And I was expecting that to happen because we were hearing reports yesterday that there were firefights breaking out inside of the venue. So if there was firefights breaking out, then how come the terrorists are still alive? I'm just kind of, brainstorming here and trying to understand what's going on. But anyway, so here's another video I wanted to show you here too. This is from Vikash Tiwari, and he posted a video here. It says footage from aboard a helicopter showing the significant fire damage and collapsed roof sustained by the Crocus concert hall in the Russian capital of Moscow following last night's ISIS terror attack. So let's take a look at this as well. Okay, so you can definitely see here from the video, we'll go back a little bit. You can definitely see that big gaping hole there, and that's pretty consistent with what we saw with the video from on the inside. So again, just very strange why they set fire to the venue on the inside, like the actual concert. I know there was a lot of people trying to escape out of there, but I would have thought they would have been trapped in there. I don't know if we did. We don't have that information, I guess, but yeah, it's just very interesting that they went all the way inside to the venue to start the fire. This definitely looks like they tried to do this quickly, is what it looks like to me, because obviously they got caught at the Bryansk forest, roughly about 385 kilometers or so, close to the Ukrainian border. So, I don't know, just trying to be a little bit of a detective here, I guess, if you want to call that. All right, so next up here from Insider Papers says, Russia says Moscow concert hall attackers had contacts in Ukraine. I wanted to save that for you too, because it says here that they had contacts in Ukraine. I'm not really sure what they mean by contacts. Obviously, that could be like people that they know that they're affiliated with in Ukraine, maybe kind of pointing to the fact that Ukraine is involved here is kind of what I'm thinking they're saying. But I don't know, maybe Putin, that's kind of what Putin was talking about, is he said that he has very obvious evidence here that this is an attack foiled by Ukraine. Or I don't know, maybe we're going to find out in the end that somehow the West was involved here. I don't know. It definitely makes you wonder what's going on here. Okay, so next up, here's from Michael McFall. The U.S. tried to warn Putin about this horrific terrorist attack, and he instead ridiculed the warning. I hope all Russians see this clip. So I wanted to show you this too, because this was just, I don't know, I want to say, it says here a few days ago, but I don't recall seeing this video, but apparently Vladimir Putin put out a statement here that was responding to a lot of the West, like the U.S. technically, like, what was it, a month or two ago? They put out some warnings saying that there was potential terrorist attacks in Russia in the next, like, 48 hours. Actually, excuse me, this was 2 weeks ago, I believe. And so I guess this was maybe a response at some point from Putin, basically shooting that down and saying, you know what, there's no possibility of terrorist attacks. This is just Western propaganda. They're just trying to destabilize our country and all that. So let's take a look at this as well.
Напомню и о недавних, прямо скажем, провокационных заявлениях ряда официальных западных структур о возможности терактов в России. Все это напоминает откровенный шантаж и намерение запугать, дестабилизировать наше общество. Напомню и о недавних, прямо скажем, провокационных заявлениях ряда официальных западных структур о возможности терактов в России. Все это напоминает откровенный шантаж и намерение запугать, дестабилизировать наше общество. Напомню и о недавних...
Okay, so obviously you can see here that, yeah, he's saying that these statements coming out from the West are just provocative statements, that they're trying to destabilize us. He says blatant blackmail here and intentions to scare. So he basically shot this down, saying that this wasn't going to happen, but then just a few weeks later, it happens, okay? And I believe right now, too, there's like a level 4 travel advisory for Moscow or just Russia in general due to potential terror attacks, because obviously this is something that was warned about by the U.S. Embassy just a few weeks ago. So I wanted to show you that because apparently, this is something that Putin said, okay? So I don't know. I don't know how he feels here, unless maybe Russians were involved here, the CIA or something like that. I don't know. But clearly he shot that down, that warning, when that came out. Okay, so finally here from X, this is from Vicegrad24, breaking. The official ISIS outlet Al-Amaq releases a longer statement on the attack in Moscow and includes a photo of the attackers. So here's like a photo that they released apparently. And I was seeing online too, there was some other photos of the actual terrorists that were caught, but I won't show that because it's kind of graphic looking, the way that they were very roughed up, I want to say, when they were caught. So I don't want to show that here. But a lot of the shirts they were wearing were very similar, especially this guy, and this guy, the orange, green, and like gray. They were wearing the same kind of clothing when they were caught. So apparently this was a photo taken here of these terrorists that were involved just before they launched the attack, okay? So that's that photo, and then here is another statement as well. This was the photo that was put out with the statement. I know it's not in English, but I have a translation here apparently. Someone put out a translation right here, and we'll go over this. So it says, the most violent attack in years. Hundreds of Russian Christians were killed and wounded in a bloody attack by the Islamic State in the heart of Russia. Moscow Amaq agency, the Islamic State, dealt a strong blow to Russia with a bloody attack, the most violent targeting in years. Security sources told Amaq agency that a coordinated attack was launched by Islamic State fighters on Friday on a large crowd of Christians in the city of Krasnogorsk, on the outskirts of the capital Moscow. The sources added that the attack targeted a mass party attended by thousands of Christians inside a music hall located within a complex, big commercial in the city. The sources revealed to Amaq that the attack was carried out by 4 Islamic State fighters who were armed with machine guns, a pistol, knives, and incendiary bombs, and was preceded by an intensive monitoring operation of the place. The source explained that the fighters stormed the hall and 3 of them began shooting at the crowd while the 4th fighter was busy setting fire to the hall using incendiary bombs that had been prepared in advance for this purpose. The sources indicated that the fighters confirmed that they shot dozens of Christians in the heads and slaughtered a number of them inside the hall and its corridors. The bloody attack resulted in infinite toll in at least 300 Christians being killed or wounded, and a major fire broke out that destroyed 2/3 of the hall and caused a collapse of large parts. The sources confirmed to Amaq that the attack comes within the normal context of the raging war between the Islamic State and countries fighting Islam. So as far as I know, this is the statement here, according to Visegrad24, okay? This is the statement that we're seeing here. And again, it says here that supposedly they killed 300, okay, 300 innocent people, and maybe more, but we're hearing, at least on actual news reports, we're hearing as high as like 160, or what was it, something 150, somewhere around there. So at the end of the day, still a lot of people that are unfortunately killed, and then we've got hundreds more that were wounded. So finally, I want to show you this on a map, the Bryansk region here. So this is about how far they got. So here's Ukraine, according to the information that we have, and the Bryansk region is this red region right here, okay? So they drove from Moscow, from western Moscow over here. I think it was somewhere in this region up here, somewhere in western Moscow. And they drove from up here all the way down. I'm assuming they probably took this highway here, this highway, or maybe this highway, and they were caught somewhere over here, okay, in the Bryansk forest. So there's a lot of like heavy green right here. This should be all forest, and they were caught somewhere somewhere around here. Okay, so pretty close to the Ukrainian border. They had another, 100 kilometers maybe to go, and they would have made it. And apparently they ditched their vehicle and they were caught in the woods. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that. And yeah, according to the information, that's what we have here. So that's going to be it for this update, though. I just wanted to give you the latest here on what I could find for you. And, you know, regardless, this was a completely horrible, horrific attack here in Moscow just yesterday. This is my third report on this to bring you the latest on what's going on. So again, we've got hundreds of people that have been killed and wounded. It appears here that all of the assailants that were involved here, even people who were not committing acts of terror, like actually shooting people or catching the building on fire, we've got like 15 people in total that have been arrested, or is it 11 people? I think it was 11. So definitely a horrible thing, and I'm sure we'll be getting more information coming out here every single day, and we'll see what this evidence is that Putin brings forth here regarding the Ukraine involvement in this attack. Okay, so let me know what you think down below. Put your comments and your thoughts down below for us. And if you got something out of this video, please smash the like button. And also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below and hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. And with that, I hope you all have a great day. Thank you so much for tuning in for this update. Everybody take care and God bless, and we'll see you in the next one.